All right, good morning, professionals you trust. Today we have our presenter of the week, Tina Mitchell from Highlands Mortgage. And to give you an introduction, we have 3 questions that she's answered about herself that she'd like to share with you today. One was, how do you want to be remembered? She would like to be remembered as someone that came from a place of contribution. She wakes up every morning with the intent to be an inspiration to at least one person. If she can do that, her day is a success. Very inspirational. And what guarantees do you offer to your clients? She offers a $5,000 seller financing guarantee. This is not a Highlands guarantee, but her own personal guarantee that she's offered for over 10 years. Definitely sets her apart. She doesn't know anyone in her market or any other market that offers that guarantee. What makes it very unique is that it's not tied to the buyer being able to secure financing. If they do anything to jeopardize their financing, her guarantee still stands. And if their financing falls through, she pays the seller $5,000. It's only subject to seller and property issues. This basically increases their earnest money by $5,000 and makes them more competitive. No kidding. And then who's your perfect power partner that you would like to meet? Tina's perfect power partner is a real estate agent. A great way to introduce them to her is to let them know that she would love to showcase their business on her radio and podcast show. This is a great way to get her connected to them and a great benefit to them as well. So with that, we'll kick it off with Tina.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Tanya, and thank you for everyone here to listen to my presentation. So I want to talk to you about the cost of purchasing now versus waiting and what the numbers look like. It's really easy to generate these reports to show the sense of urgency of why buying now. Now, before we do this, I want to talk with you a little bit about what's happening with mortgage interest rates. I've shared before how mortgage rates are tied to how the Fannie Mae 30-year bond is trading. So it's directly tied to the Fannie Mae 30-year bond. So when the bond market is trading at a higher price, mortgage rates go down. When the bond market's trading at a lower price and dropping in trading price, mortgage rates go up. Now, we know that we've had historical low interest rates. You most likely know how that happened is the Fed started purchasing mortgage-backed securities to artificially get the rates low to help us through COVID, and it did. We hit historical low rates. Well, you probably know when the feds are spending money to invest in something, other things are suffering. So at some point in time, they have to stop and they have to reinvest or do something different. Now, normally what they do when they purchase mortgage-backed securities is they reinvest that money into the market. Well, to make it even worse, they didn't reinvest that money back into the market. They reinvest that money into purchasing mortgage-backed securities, more mortgage-backed securities. So what's happening right now, I want to show you the Fannie Mae 30-year bond. So we lost another 19 basis points today. Again, when the bond market drops in trading price, that's bad for mortgage rates. When they increase and trade at a higher price, that's good for mortgage interest rates. Every single day we have lost in the bond market. What does this mean? It means that mortgage interest rates are going up. Now, to give a little bit of perspective, if we take it back to a longer period of time, and this is what I show my clients when I'm meeting with them, is I show them where the bond market's trading right now. I give them a history of what's happened in the bond market. And this way, when mortgage rates go up, because if I met with a client and got them pre-approved back in mid-February, the rates were lower than where they're at now. Now they're under contract that with a seller on a property. Now they're in a position to lock in. Well, this and shows them why the interest rates are higher. So if we get a perspective, this takes us back to January of 2019. Now you can see the bond market was trading much lower than where it's at today. So rates are lower. We're still in historical lows. We're just not in these ridiculous, never seen in 50 years, as long as they've been tracking interest rates, historical lows. This was COVID. This is when the bond market tanked. The feds quickly stepped in and started purchasing mortgage-backed securities. This is when the conversation started of inflation. Inflation is the arch enemy for mortgage rates. So we have two things that's impacting mortgage rates negatively: inflation, and the feds are tapering back on purchasing mortgage-backed securities, which again artificially kept the interest rates low. So here's what I want to show you today is the cost of waiting versus purchasing right now. So if you had a purchase price right now of $950,000, you were doing a 20% down payment, And let's just say the interest rate was 2.875%. Principal and interest would be $31.53 a month, not counting taxes and insurance. So in 5 years, well, actually, we'll get down to that in just a second. Total cash needed 190,000. Now, if you waited thinking that maybe the market might drop in purchase price, because that's the conversation. Well, the market is so hot right now, why don't we just wait and see what happens to the real estate market? Well, if a lot of people have a hard time predicting what real estate's going to do, but they don't have a hard time predicting what employment's going to do. Real estate always follows employment. What do you think employment's going to do? Well, I'm sure your guess is the same as mine. We are in very strong with employment, and there's nothing that says that employment is not going to continue to be strong, which means the real estate is going to continue to appreciate. Also, inflation is a benefit for real estate. Real estate is almost the only thing that you have to hedge against inflation outside of gold, maybe Bitcoin. So it's a great investment when we're inflation. So there's two positive things there. Plus there's no inventory, and there's nothing that says how we're going to get more inventory. So I don't think the market is going to drop 5%, but let's just say that it did. So that 950 home you can get for 902.5. Well, let's just say rates went up 1%. I think that there's a good chance that they're going to go up more than that. Then you can see that the $242 a month you could save here. Now, that same payment, you could actually buy a home that's just over 1.1022 million to keep the payment exactly the same if you could afford that payment. Now, this shows you what the savings would be when it's all said and done. You'd save 68,000 buying now. Now, let's just say there's a 0% appreciation, but the interest rates go up to 3.875. 51,000 savings. Here's your 5-year. Most likely, this is what's going to happen. You're not only going to see property values increase, but you're also going to see interest rates increase. So it's a double whammy. There's your savings over 5 years, savings over 30 years. So the call to action is buy now. Tina Mitchell, and your presentation for the week. Thank you so much.